rise above, extinguish fear, rise above, extinguish fear.
So welcome back to Rise Above. Believe it or not, we're still not the first episode yet. We've had our ground zero reporting out on the streets last Saturday. Today, we're going to be at the desk, fact-checking, looking at some of the things raised in the interviews, and I'm going to be covering a few other things that have happened in the media in the last few days concerning the current issues around the pandemic that are pretty interesting. Before we go into the interview, let's address this whole thing about the UK mass gathering. The video was designed to go and investigate the apparent UK mass gathering advertised at Bournemouth Beach as well as all over the country. As you saw, it didn't happen. Now let's see what happened in the mainstream media. We had reports in the Daily Mail. Here we are, the Daily Mail. Mass gatherings with picnics and live music hosted by anti-vaccine group. However, then we get this story where they have injected Jada Franson of Britain First into it. Now, I'm sure you've seen the screenshots of her at Company's House owning, here we are, Freedom Movement Limited. Freedom Movement Limited, okay, we've got the screenshots. I've checked it out. I've looked on Company's House. She owns Freedom Movement Limited. Here's the problem. I haven't found a single piece of evidence linking Freedom Movement Limited to the UK mass gatherings. On the poster, it says, join the Freedom Movement UK. So I typed in Freedom Movement UK into Google and I came up with this website here. Instantly, boom, there's a picture of Tommy Robinson. It's red, white and blue. They've got Union Jacks and it looks pretty nationalistic, patriotic, right-wing, Tommy Robinson-esque. That makes sense. No, sorry, UK mass gatherings right there. Let's look on the video. As we see on the video, the owner of UK Freedom Movement, the face of it, is denouncing it. Okay, although he says he agrees with it, he's actually denouncing it. So he's got no reason to push it away. He agrees with the concepts, but he says nothing to do with us. So that's interesting. Nothing to do with UK Freedom Movement, who's got Tommy Robinson on the page. However, when you Google Jada Franson's involvement, ex-Britain First deputy leader denies any link to the illegal lockdown, and she says that she's part of the Britain Freedom Movement. So the two people who have been linked with it, Jada Franson, Tommy Robinson, no link to it. UK Freedom Movement, we are nothing to do with this. Jada Franson, I'm nothing to do with this. Now, I did a bit more digging. Online, you can very quickly see that a certain individual has claimed the Daily Mail article right here. He says, thanks for the free advertising, and he posted Hyde Park. Now, we all know what happened in Hyde Park. There's lots of arrests, including Piers Corbyn, Jeremy Corbyn's brother, not exactly your average right-wing activist. 90 arrests, so we're led to believe. So Devon Jones is claiming credit for this. But then I went one stage deeper. He has reposted this post from someone called Earl Jesse. Earl Jesse has said, share far and wide the 16th of May, which was last Saturday, 42 posters, 42 different locations all around the UK. Earl Jesse is simply an individual with an anonymous mask. And he posts stuff about QAnon, anonymous, truth-seeking. So only about 5 minutes of digging, you can tell that this has got very, very little to do with UK Freedom Movement, Freedom Movement Limited, British Freedom Movement, Jada Franson or Tommy Robinson. That is absolute garbage. With 5 minutes of investigation, you can trace it to two individuals with a Facebook profile and an anonymous mask. Next up, let's address some of the things that were brought up in the two brilliant interviews which I managed to get just outside Bournemouth Town Centre. Pat and Bob, excellent guys. The first thing that stuck out was Pat mentioned he had taken his son to a healer who had learned from another healer called Jack Temple, who he claimed Sherry Blair had taken her son to, while Tony Blair is simultaneously being the salesman for the MMR vaccine. So let's dig. Here we go. Jack Temple, 1917 to 2004. So he's unfortunately passed away. Jack Temple, a healer, he used homeopathy, he used crystal healing, he used dowsing. So this is all like new age alternative remedies. He has treated Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, Sherry Blair, Sarah the Duchess of York and Jerry Hall. So we've got two members of the royal family, Sherry Blair and a Hollywood A-lister back in the 90s or whenever that was, Jerry Hall. So this guy obviously has some clout. Let's go a little bit deeper. So the Mail Online, Sherry Blair gets magic hand therapy. What's all that about? Okay, so she's into alternative healing. Sherry Blair and Fergie have shared the same therapist, Jack Temple. So the Daily Mail have confirmed it. Who else have we got? The Telegraph. Sherry Blair took Leo to a pendulum healer in place of the MMR jab. So that's two. Let's have another one. The Guardian. Tony, Sherry, and all the New Age stuff. So it seems that The Guardian is saying Sherry Blair was into all different types of alternative and New Age healing, and for her children, while Tony Blair was simultaneously pushing the MMR jab. We seem to have confirmed that. Now, whether or not Tony Blair's son ever got the MMR jab is down to hearsay, because at the time, Tony Blair was very famous for not disclosing it, saying that's my business. At the time, it's reported that Sherry Blair chose to go to Jack Temple instead of the MMR jab. She later said in her book, Leo got the jab. Who knows? I guess that's one thing we'll never know. So that claim by Pat seems to be true. Tony Blair pushes the vaccine while his wife takes his kids to an alternative healer who uses crystals, homeopathy, organic food, etc., instead of pharmaceuticals and vaccines. Surprise, surprise. He made a claim about the country of Belarus, how they have basically ignored the World Health Organization. They've had no lockdown and they've had very low deaths. I googled Belarus. The first thing that comes up, COVID-19. World Health Organization, or the Wuhan Health Organization as I like to refer to them, have urged Belarus to implement distancing measures, Georgia to extend state of emergency. So it instantly seems like Belarus are basically saying we're not playing ball. So let's go to the stats. Now, for the purpose of this, I'm actually going to use the Wuhan Health Organization's official stats. As much as I don't agree with them for the purposes of this discussion, that's what we have to refer to. Belarus has a population of just under 10 million, 30,500 cases of COVID-19, and up to today, these are up-to-date stats, 171 deaths. So, that statement, that claim is true. The Wuhan Health Organization back it up. 171 deaths out of a population of 10 million with 30,500 cases. That is a mortality rate of 0.5%. Now hold that in your head. We're going to be coming back to this mortality rate question again and again. Because what I've done is I've looked at some of the other stats on the Wuhan Health Organization's official live update of country by country. Now let's take the USA. 328 million population, 147,000 cases, just under 90,000 deaths, with a 6% mortality rate. 6%. The UK, 66 million population, a quarter of a million cases, just shy of 35,000 deaths. We're at 14%, 1-4. Italy, same population as us, same percentage, 14%. There's a coincidence. China, 1.3 billion population, 84,000 cases and 4,600 deaths. 5%. Sweden, 10 million, 12%. No lockdown in Sweden. Important. Korea, no lockdown, 51 million, 2.3%. So, Belarus with no lockdown, Korea with no lockdown at 0.5 and 2.3% compared to 14% of the UK and Italy with the measures that we've had. Now, we must say the UK and Italy have an ageing population that has to be taken into account. But remember, the official mortality rate of COVID-19 is 3 to 4%. So we're seeing quite a disparity here. And these are the official stats from the WHO. Very, very interesting. Right, now this next breaking story is really interesting. A couple of days ago, this report came out that the World Health Organization offered $20 million, a bribe, to poison a COVID-19 cure made by Madagascar, claims President Andry Rajoelina. Now that's the headline that came out in a Tanzania newspaper. I'm reading the Zambian Observer here, and this is all based off one interview with France 24 that he did. It's 17 minutes. I've watched it through roughly 4 times, and I can tell you straight away, at no point in the interview does he ever make a claim that he was bribed with 20 million from the Wuhan Health Organization. As much as I'd like that to be true, and I don't know if it is true, there is no evidence of it here. However, what is evidence here is that this guy is essentially using natural herbs from Madagascar to produce something called, what's it, Omar? Cordial?
COVID organics.
COVID organics. An organic cure using a plant called Artemisia, which I've just seen here. Artemisia Tests for a miracle cure herb have begun. Madagascar's government are testing the healing the coronavirus is undergoing tests by a group of international researchers. The Wuhan Health Organization warns there are no scientific studies that prove it works. So as this sovereign nation is doing tests into its own cure, which is made from its own plants, and as the president says, 80% of Madagascans only use herbal remedies as part of their culture. They're using their own scientists to observe clinical studies. They're getting great results from this. And the Wuhan Health Organization is saying, there are no proven studies to prove it works, while they're literally conducting their own studies that proves it works. What is going on here? Well, here's what might be going on. It turns out, here we go, on the 21st of April, the White House donated $2 million to Madagascar to develop this herbal remedy for COVID-19. Now, if Artemisia, it turns out Artemisia is also got anti-malarial properties. Well, what has also got anti-malarial properties? Hydroxychloroquine. In the interview, the president says that he has explored all avenues, and before making this herbal remedy, on the advice of Professor Didier Raoult, he started using hydroxychloroquine, also with the amphipamazepine. So it's the two drugs put together with zinc as well, I believe, as an additive. So he's been using that to cure COVID-19 while they developed their herbal remedy, and now the Wuhan Health Organization are doing everything they can to stop him. This is a 7.5-minute video on YouTube posted on the 17th of May of Italian MP Sarah Cunial, a member of the Italian Chamber of Deputies. She is calling for the arrest of Bill Gates on the Parliament floor to much uproar. She's talking about the Gates Foundation max vaccination programme, the link with ID 2020, the biometric ID programme, how the vaccine is going to be used to deliver it. She's talking about the quantum tattoo, which I've already exposed on Facebook weeks ago. She's talking about how the mass media use NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, to soften us for things like biometric ID tagging. She's talking about aiming to take over world food and agriculture, which Bill Gates is certainly doing, investing in pure meat or clean meat or all of these meat substitutes. Sterilisation of Africans, 500,000 Indians paralysed through Bill Gates' vaccine. She's dropping absolute bombs. She's talking about a deep state medical mafia, Gates doing business with multinational 5G tech companies. She traced the money, billions, between Gates, Gavi, IBM, Microsoft. She's talking about how billions are put into vaccinations, but nothing is invested in the prevention of these diseases. This woman is dropping absolute bombs. She's essentially talking about the NWO world takeover, the complete enslavement of mankind, live on the Parliament floor to much uproar. And the craziest thing is, there's lots of noise in the background, and halfway through, the speaker rings a bell, tells everyone to shut up and listen to what this woman is saying. MP Sarah Cunial, please check this out. It's 7.5 minutes long. Look for yourself. This woman is not going to be around for long. She's either going to lose her job or be hanging from a doorknob. Very, very brave. This is groundbreaking, people. Go and check it out on YouTube now. Okay, so to wrap it up, it was really good to fact check a couple of the salacious claims that were brought up in the interviews. Both of them seem to be true, or at least true according to Google and the mainstream media and all the sources available at my fingertips. Apart from that, let's finish on a couple of positive notes. Coronavirus could burn out naturally. No vaccine is needed. The former World Health Organization director claims. Professor Carol Sikora, who was previously the head of the cancer department for the World Health Organization, basically saying it will burn out naturally, no need for a vaccine, nothing to worry about. So that's fantastic. Let's wrap it up with back to the president of Madagascar, his wicked COVID organic remedy, and let's look on the Wuhan Health Organization's official stats for the island of Madagascar. 322 cases with one single death. I can do that in my head. That's 0.3% death rate, which I believe is roughly the same as seasonal flu. Guys, don't forget, episode 1 is getting filmed on Saturday. I've got a very special guest. We're talking about everything Trump, QAnon, the Great Awakening. It's going to be epic. I'll see you guys then.
It's not racist at all.